Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest in this series of podcasts with myself, Liam Carroll, a qualified financial consultant with SYS Wealth and Financial Planners. And the idea behind these podcasts is to give health to your wealth by interviewing experienced business people who will give some tips and advice on their experiences and thus giving health to your wealth. And today we're delighted to be joined by Therese O'Connor. And I'm going to just read out a quick bio on Therese. Therese's mission is to help business owners free up their time and maximize efficiency through focusing on 4 key areas: compliance, structure, consistency, and quality. At Blueprint Solutions, they are action-orientated, results-focused, straight-talking, and team players, and they tailor their approach to meet your needs and goals. So Therese, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for the invitation, Liam, and thanks for the intro.
No problem at all.
Makes you sound great.
That's not too hard, Therese. That's not too hard.
Thanks.
Therese, just I suppose Blueprint Solutions. Can you give us a quick background on it, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I'll give you the short background of it, which is quite. I'm known to talk for a long time, but I'll do a short background of Blueprint Solutions. Really started was developed at the beginning of COVID. So I'm only really in operation since April. Oh. However, I'm up until April, I have been in full-time employment for 25 plus years in business management, in project management, in many industries such as hospitality and tourism, education, holistic wellness, retail. So they're my key areas. All my industries have been very much customer service focused. So when COVID happened, or actually, no, being honest with you, before COVID happened, I had it in my plan that 2020, I was going to open up my own project management business mentoring company. I had no date. I just knew that I was going to do it in 2020. Did I know it was going to be called Blueprint Solutions? Absolutely no idea. No, I didn't. That all happened just organically by brainstorming with a few friends one night. Well, what is Blue? You're all about getting results. That's me. That's what I've been doing all my life in business management roles. And I'm all about planning. Anyone that hears me talking business will hear me saying planning and systems. I'm a big systems queen. So Blueprint is design a plan and solutions is get a result. So Blueprint Solutions was basically the natural name for the company. And as I said, I was in full-time employment. When the kind of COVID started to hit and jobs were getting a little bit sketchy, the full-time employment I was in was a startup in an industry that needed front-facing customers, wasn't set up or wanted to be set up for online or could be set up for online easily. That wasn't their objective. So it was going to be a situation that gradually I was reducing my hours, which actually suited me fine. Because what happened was I started to have people come to me going, will you help me with a business plan? Will you help me systemize my business now so I'm ready for after COVID? And will you help me project manage my website so I get the right website to be able to sell my whatever service products online for after COVID or during COVID? So it happened organically. And then I realized that I had so many clients coming to me, I had a business in it. So that's when I went self-employed fully since May, really. And Blueprint Solutions started at the end of April, beginning of May. So that's really it in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. And it's basically, I think what you've said is you didn't leave COVID upset the plan. Like you basically you plowed on and got the business going, and you're going well, thank God.
Well, being honest, I think COVID probably helped me because I was in a comfort zone. Being honest, I was in a job where somebody was paying me a wage and my bills were getting paid and it was a bit of security, as I thought. But what I soon realized is you're not necessarily, and anyone who's listening that's in employment, you're not in security when you're in employment because, and I remember one Friday evening of one of the bank holidays, I can't remember what bank holiday it was, but I think it was the May or June one, I got told, we want you to go down to a 3-day week, just like that, starting the following week. Yeah. I had no control. Now, as it happened, it suited me because I had it in my head that I was going to go part-time 7 anyway, and I was going to do it anyway. So it kind of worked in my favor. Well, if that was somebody else on a bank holiday Friday, I had no security over that. So it kind of got me thinking, going, right, okay, you probably to a point don't have any security self-employed either, but you control your situation an awful lot better.
You do, yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The harder you work, the luckier you get and all that. Like certain, as was it Jack Nicklaus, I think, said in relation to the golf. I suppose the first two questions that I normally ask people are how the COVID has affected you personally and professionally. I know you've delved a small bit into it, but I suppose to answer the question, has it personally and professionally, how the COVID has affected you?
Well, personally, yeah, I'm being honest. Like a lot of people, I can't see my loved one. I didn't see my loved ones for 6 months. I'm living in Ennis, Sinclair, and my family are all Wexford. So, and my parents are in the cocooning era, and I have a father who has cancer now. Thankfully, he's okay and he's great, and I think they're happy out cocooning, to be quite honest. As long as they can walk around the farm or whatever, they're in the country, so that helps. But I couldn't see them for 6 months.
Yeah.
Which can be hard. It can be hard. But what it has done, being honest, has got us all using technology more and using WhatsApp family groups and stuff that we've never done before, and connected a little bit more. So it has its ups and downs. Yeah, personally, yeah, it was my first year celebrating my birthday where I wasn't in a different country. I'm a traveling geek, and I go 3 or 4 times a year on my own with friends. I'm gone. And Spain is one of my most favorite countries. I used to live in Spain, so I have this passion for Spain and have lots of contacts there. And it's my first year that I did not spend a year in Spain for my birthday. Yeah. So things like
that's
that.
That's definitely one way it affected you anyway, Therese. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm healthy. I started a new business. Discovered, like you and everybody else, Zoom. Right. And I've had Zoom parties where we had a Saturday night drinking wine. They're the best thing ever. Don't have to queue to go to the bathroom, don't have to queue for the bar. Do you know what I mean? It's great.
Do you know what's amazing really is that people are so adaptable. In that, I think that like even there you're talking like there was a negative and you take a positive. I mean, I've done a few of these and it's amazing the amount of people that will take the negative and actually turn it into a positive. I think that's part of your business as well, to a certain extent, Therese, that you'll be educating. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, a lot of I suppose a lot of people business-wise that I'm dealing with have what I call, but I have myself actually, but I now know the tips to deal with it. They have what I call the busy mess mindset, right? They have, and I've written about this in a book actually, which I'll tell you very shortly, but it's all about everything's going on in their head and they have to do things now and they must do that. There's worry and there's stress and there's to-do items and there's people in their heads, and it's like a big jungle in their mind. Now I would be prone to that. My mind goes 50 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour. Most of the time it's good stuff, right? But sometimes that negative beliefs or the negative things or the I can't and all these things going, oh my God, comes in. So a lot of the business owners that I work with and I seem to attract, and I love working with these people, are people who have started their business because they have a passion for, and they're an expert in whatever it is they do. But it doesn't necessarily, and they bring their business with that passion to a certain level. They get the year or the first year and a half done, right? Because of their passion and their belief about the business. But then they come to the stage that, oh my God, I have to have the business skills. What do I do? How do I bring my business online? What do I do to make sure there's consistency in my business? There's the structure and the systems. How do I increase sales? How do I get more customers? And all of a sudden, now we have a mess. And now we have a panic attack. And nothing gets done until they get past that. That's where I come into play. That's where my forte comes in, is getting that mess, that jungle that's in your mind, all untangled, out in an action plan, step by step, at your pace, at the business owner's pace, right? And in their way. So when I say systems, a lot of people, you have to systemize a business. You know that yourself and being in finance.
Yeah.
You have to, and structure and systems go hand in hand. But a lot of people, when they hear the word systems, they get very frightened because they think it's technology and loads of money and it's all complicated. But depending, and I'm a big believer in technology, and I know you probably use some financial applications, and they speed up everything. But there's a lot of business owners out there that can't have a phobia or haven't got the expertise in technology. And if you put systems in place for that business using technology, you're lost on them. It's lost. It's lost. It's not an effective system for them. So what I do is I go in and look at systems, be it I did with somebody yesterday, I just set up an Excel spreadsheet for them. Now for me and you, we kind of might go past that and go on to, but this person is does not like computers and does not want to spend time. So an Excel spreadsheet for them was the best system and the most efficient system for that person. So what I do is I listen to their audience and tailor whatever they need. And that's what makes me successful, because I'm specific for them. I'm on their team and listen to them. I'm not necessarily coming with the best things out there now, because the best things out there now mightn't be the best thing for them right now.
Yeah, it's like in a team, someone asks someone, what's your coaching philosophy? Well, I have to see what players I have first of all before I can, and it's the same.
And their mindset and their skills and all of that. Absolutely, yeah. The mindset's probably, being honest, the mindset is probably the most important. Are they teachable? If they're not teachable, there's no point them hiring me. Because I want to learn and give them skills that they can make themselves accountable. So if you want a business mentor, you have to be teachable. Because what a business mentor is going to do is give you tips and skills to help you drive your business. So if you're not teachable, you're not investing in the right person, which is the business mentor is not for you. That's my philosophy on it.
Yeah, full stop. Be it you or anybody else, it's just not for the person. Yeah, makes perfect sense. You've some tips, I suppose. In fairness, it's an amazing story, really, having the business started up at the COVID side of it. But some tips you'd have for people that they can maybe upskill themselves or something, how to get out of COVID a better person, I suppose, really, Therese.
Yeah, but I suppose I just said it. One of the biggest tips I learned tonight is you have to be open to learning and be teachable. Yeah. If you're not open to learning or open to change, you're going around in the vicious circle. Yeah, so that's the first thing. You need to be open to it. One thing, actually, there's something was said to me a couple of months ago and it stuck in my head. We all worry at some point. We all stress at some point, right? Some more than others, and anxiety and stress and worry, be it business or personally, could overtake off our people. That's why we have a lot of depression and mental health illness or whatever. But somebody said to me a couple of months ago, make an appointment with yourself every day. And I was going, interesting. To do what? Make an appointment and set out in your diary. And I have a diary and I write out my action items with times, the time I'm going to do it and how long it's going to take me every single day. So I give myself an appointment at 9 o'clock every night for my worry and stress to come out. If anything to do with worry and stress comes out during the day, I said, come back at 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, I let it all come out and I actually write it down. And this is the key thing. Why people get overwhelmed and get kind of all this anxiety and stress, we let our emotions take over from the facts. So by writing it down, I write down anything that comes to my head. I have no logic to it, right? I write it down, but then I go back and I look, going, that's emotion, that's fact, that's completely fiction and that's made up. I don't know where that came from. But you only then focus on the fact. So if it so happens, you say, oh my God, I'm never going to get this done, or my one is always, I'm never going to lose weight. But the fact is, I lost a pound a week every week for the last 3 months. So of course I'm going to lose weight. It's just the emotions taken over. And in our brain, I read a great book. I don't know if you know it, I have it there somewhere. The chimp paradox, the mind management system called the chimp paradox.
What you call him about that?
Stephen Peters, is it? Or I have it there somewhere.
Ronnie O'Sullivan's coach in the snooker. I think he was with Liverpool as well in the soccer when they won the Premiership.
I didn't know that now. But he said about that in our brain we have a chimp, the human, and the computer. And the computer is our storage unit, right? The human is all the facts. The human takes up the biggest part of our brain. So the facts takes up the biggest part of our brain. The human takes up a much smaller part, which is the chimp, which is the emotions. But when it comes to impact and power, the emotions, which is the chimp, has 4 times more power than the facts.
That's amazing.
That was an interesting thing. So that's why I write down everything during my stress hour or worry hour or half hour. And I identify what's a fact and what's a fiction, and I only concentrate on the facts. So that's one of my biggest tips, because that has stopped me. I have what a lot of people say, the busy mess mind syndrome. I've actually written an article in a book about it. But that has stopped me now by writing it down and having only that dedicated time just to worry about it.
Do you know what comes out, Therese, an awful lot of people recently, and I haven't heard that one now before, to be very honest, but someone said like that we're all great, that if we have an appointment with someone, we'll write into the diary and write all, but you should be writing in a spot for making prospecting calls, that's another one like that. You should be writing all these things into the diary. Isn't that fair to say? And just maybe.
Yeah, and I started doing that recently. I look at another tip I will give. It doesn't make a difference how good you are or what you do. I have a mentor. Everybody needs. I have a business mentor. I believe I'm quite good at what I do, but I still need somebody that I can go to bounce ideas off or see things objectively that I'm not seeing about my business, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has a business mentor, and it's actually my business mentor got me to do that, what you just said, write out my pipeline, as he calls it. He calls it the forest, the inward pile, the outward pile, and the log from the fire. That's what he calls it. Now I just do prospective clients or whatever. But yeah, and what I do now, but the only other thing is networking is far important. There's another tip. You can never survive in business or in life on your own. You always need alliances, be it personal, professional, whatever. So never think you can survive on your own. You can't. You always need other businesses or other people to help you achieve your goals. Now, I come from the tourism industry, and I always said when I was in hotels, no one's necessarily going to go to a hotel, select a hotel to go to. They will go there if the hotel has the right facilities, but if the surrounding area has a lot of things to do, like music at night, well, it's different now, but music at night, attractions, access points, whatever it may be, right? So it's a united front. So every business is the same.
It's a fair point, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. The next question is, as you know, we're in the financial services industry, and what financial services product, I suppose, have you taken out that you found the most useful over the years, or has given you the greatest peace of mind, or that you would highly recommend to people, really, is the question, Therese.
Well, I'm being honest, because, and thanks to you now, I'll thank you on this one, but because I'm recently self-employed, when you're employed by people, you don't really worry about the finance, any extra stuff, because it's all sorted by your employer, really, to a point. Yeah. It's only when you go, like if I get sick or go on holidays when you're employed, it's kind of worked, it's kind of looked after, you know? Yeah. So when you go self-employed, you have to start thinking. Now, I was self-employed many years ago briefly as well, but you have to start thinking about, oh my God, if something happens to me in the morning, what happens? There's no money coming in. So it's only recently through, I think, a presentation you did, and I've had other financial services for different events say was realized, number one, that income protection is there, realize what it is, but I now value the importance of it. The worry that if something happens to me in the morning, and I taken out income protection with yourself, if it comes out in the morning, if something happens to me in the morning,
yeah,
I can't work for the period of time or for the rest of my life, I am still covered because I get 70% of my current monthly salary coming into me after 13 weeks until I'm 60 or 65, I can't remember. That is a security blanket for me, and that makes me wanting to grow my business, takes the fear out of if the business is not successful, because we all work on fear, don't we? Most of the time we shouldn't, but it takes the fear out of the business is not successful, or if something happens and I can't do the business anymore, or I'm sick, takes it out now. I can worry that part, that happens, I'll be okay. Let's plow along and get this business growing. That's my attitude now. So it's a must, and it's not, I mean, I thought first of all, when you started talking about it, this is going to cost me a fortune. It's not. One bit, it's not anything I'm going to miss in a month. Yeah. So it's not, when you think about the long term.
There's a couple of sides to that, like on income protection, there's full tax relief on it, which is fantastic as well.
Yes, yeah.
The other side is as well, I think, and it's a few people have said this recently, but the whole COVID situation has made people think an awful lot differently about income protection, because the government did provide an unofficial form of income protection when the COVID came, that there was money there paid out to people. And I'd say they started to think that, gee, if I got an illness or a sickness or an injury or an accident and I wasn't able to work in the morning, what would I do? And I think an awful lot, I've seen a big increase in the numbers of people taking out income protection, and I'd put it down to that, really, like. So yeah, thanks very much, Therese, as well.
Well, the other thing is, because of COVID, we had a lot of time to think and look at things that we're so busy doing things, busy fools maybe half the time, that now it's realized that we could stop and think and look at different things, and we had time to do these things. That was another thing that happened as well with COVID, you know.
A bit of reflection. Final question for you. The best bit of advice that you ever got, be it from a parent or an employer or friend, etc., etc.
I don't know if this is
I'm looking forward to this now. This should be good.
I was just about to say, I don't know if this is the best piece of advice that was ever given to me. It was more of a statement that was made to me, but the impact it had on me, probably had the most powerful impact. So I won't mention who said this to me. But a person in my immediate family said to me when I was growing up, I'm from a very sporty family, mainly GAA, but my mother played county badminton. My brothers was on underage county teams for hurling, whatever, right? And I'm from type hurling country, so that's where I'm from. So now rugby is in my family. But when I was growing up, I tried camogie, handball, rounders. I tried, but sport wasn't for me. But I remember somebody in my family saying to me, because I was the only non-sporty person, because I didn't play sport, I wasn't going to get very far in life. Sport makes the person. I will always, to this day, I was only 13, 14, right? This was said from a very sporty family, though, you see, right? They all played sport. I was the odd one out, right? I tried, I just was the most awkwardest person, right? I tried.
I feel your pain, I can guarantee you that, but anyway.
But sports makes the person. You will never amount to anything if you don't play sport. That was the thing. I think they meant about characteristics, skills, teamwork, I don't know. But I was determined. I have a bit of a determined thing. If somebody says something to me, I'll always want to prove them wrong, right? So I'm kind of going to myself, I'm going to prove them wrong. So my thing was that I love stage work. So I was on stage from the time I was 14, 15, entered competitions, represented my parish, my county, and my province. I represented Leinster when I was 16 in reciting on the scorn and organ on stage. And I've been in tops, I've been in pantomimes, I've been in musicals, I played the guitar on stage. I have done that. And that was my sport. And that made me my person. That gave me my confidence, that the awkwardness that I had on the playing field was gone and the confidence was on the stage. So I suppose it was one of the best pieces of advice in one way, because it just got me thinking everybody needs to find their sport. My sport was on stage, and that stage gave me my confidence. I felt like the imposter syndrome when I was doing sport, but I felt the authentic self when I was on stage. So while that comment was a bit tough, I'm taking the positive out of it, and it's come one of the best pieces of advice, even though they didn't say it as an advice, said to me, find your sport, find what makes you you, and gain your confidence that way. And that's what I did. So
Therese, it's been fascinating. I have to say, I know you provided some. I know
it's always fascinating speaking to you, and entertaining.
Very entertaining. No, I think one thing that kind of came through to me during the whole thing is that you have a huge level of taking a positive out of a negative, or having a triumph from adversity. And I think the sporty element, your own business getting set up, and the way you try and help your own clients as well. And I think great credit due to you for that. And I look forward to doing a bit of work with you in the future, with the help of God. And I genuinely wish you the very best of luck with the company, and I'm sure it'll be a huge success.
And can I throw a little sales pitch in before I go? So during COVID, actually, as well, I got very fortunate to be able to collaborate with 20 fantastic people. John Boyle from Boyle Sports being one of them, who's a huge, I'm a huge fan, especially of his story as well. And what I just said to you about what you just said about overcoming adversity and pushing the positive slant, we have a book that we launched that I think you know about it, called Be Life or Belief. And basically what this means, there's a lie in every belief. The beliefs that we tell ourselves, there's a lie there, because a lot of them is lack of self-belief. So all these 21 stories, me included, is about what the lack of self-beliefs or the belief system that we've had on our journey, on our personal journey, and how we've overcome them. The tips are the struggles that we have to do to overcome them, to be the people we are today and living our best life, being life. So it's a powerful book. All the pre-profits are going to sale to the Kevin Bell, I can never pronounce it, Repatriation Fund, which is all about bringing people who die in abroad, to getting the families to be able to afford to bring them home, to bury them here and be with their loved ones. So it's a powerful book. And if you're saying about putting the positive and everything, these are my stories, all about my mind and the busy mess in the jungle that I just briefly described. But there's some people with horrific stories to do with suicide and abuse in every way, and financial struggles, and people come from very poor societies and could have went one way but didn't, and are very successful today, tell their stories. So it's a powerful book. And the pre-profits are going to charity, and it's out on the 5th of November. So I would, if possible, is it possible to maybe put a link up with the podcast?
We can link up with the podcast underneath it. Yeah, that's perfect.
Great. And I would appreciate people, if people are interested in looking at tips and how they can bring the positive slant to their life, this book is definitely something for you. 100%.
I was buying one myself, Therese, and I'm looking forward to it anyway.
I'm chapter 18, just so you know.
I expected you to be chapter 1, but anyway, there you go.
Well, it's the type of book, that's the only thing about this book, is the type of book that you don't have to go in order. You can read a chapter, and that chapter is self-contained, and then you go on to another one and it's a different story. So there's a learning in each chapter. And
a coffee table book, yeah, exactly. Therese, thanks so much for taking the time out. Really,
not all, Liam, thanks for the invite.
It was brilliant, and we'll have that link. We'll have Therese's details at the end of the podcast, and also the link for the book. And I'd encourage everyone to go and buy the book. If the rest of the stories are as interesting as Therese's, it should be a bestseller. So, Therese, thank you very much. And thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you got some benefit out of it. And until the next time, stay safe. Thank you.